Each of them have a different computer. I know.
Hi, this is Rachel from Rachel Reads, and today I'm going to be interviewing Rachel Carter and Asher Ellis. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what is a synopsis of your book? Rachel, you have the So Close to You series, and Asher, you have The Remedy. So what is that about for viewers who don't know who you are?
You want to go first?
Yes. My series is a YA series. It's time travel, romance, and government conspiracy. It's set in Montauk, New York, and it follows this young girl who sort of gets caught up in this secret underground government thing where they've invented time travel, and she travels to different eras in each book. There's 3 novels. The first one is So Close to You. The second is This Strange and Familiar Place. And the third one is Find Me Where the Water Ends. And they're published through Harper.
And my book, it's not a series yet, but I am working on a sequel right now. But The Remedy is about a group of college kids coming back from Montreal into Vermont, where they go to college. And they encounter a hitchhiker on the way who offers to lead them on a detour, on a shortcut. And it proves to be a very big mistake, as it leads them into an area of forest that is home to a deadly fungal disease and a cannibalistic family as well that begins hunting them. So a lot of trouble.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And it goes, yeah, even worse from there. But yeah.
So is that an adult, since they're in college? Is that an adult novel or young adult?
It's Full Fathom, Full Fathom 5 Digital, my publisher, is marking it as, of course, horror, but also new adult. Is where they're placing it. So yeah, adult. I don't recommend it to anybody under 18.
It's very gory.
Yeah,
I don't think I've heard of a new adult that doesn't have sex in it. I don't think I've ever had that before. So you're the first book where I've heard that it's other than romance in a new adult.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you. There's a little bit of sexual content in it, but it's definitely not the focus. It's more
mostly flesh eating.
Yeah, exactly, and just flesh eating.
Yeah. Asher and I like to joke that I'm the one who I'm always like making characters kiss, and he's always trying to like chop their arms off.
Yeah, their body parts.
You complement each other so well.
You're right.
All right, so the first question I'm going to ask is, what inspired you to write your first book?
I've always known I wanted to be a writer my whole life. I think we were pretty similar in that. Asher and I have been friends for 31 years. We've known each other since we were babies. Our parents are friends, and it was something we always had in common, was knowing that we wanted to be writers. We both went to school for it. We both have MFAs in writing. When I graduated, I knew that I wanted to start writing YA because that's what I love to read, and I wanted to write genre. And so I heard about this creepy government conspiracy called the Montauk Project, and I started, coming up with ideas, and it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, a very similar response, I guess. The only thing I'd say more is one of the reasons I went for my MFA was I had a notion that I may actually want to write a novel one day, but at that time in my life, I didn't know if I had the discipline to sit down and write, 80 to 90,000 words. I figured maybe a school program like an MFA would maybe get me into like a better writing schedule, and it definitely did. And yeah, so I don't know if you wrote. I think you started So Close to You after you graduated.
Yeah.
I started writing my first novel while I was going for my MFA. It was my creative thesis. Yeah, and then just pursued it after I graduated. So yeah.
So you guys write this is all fiction and make believe, and yours is horror. It's not going to happen, and Rachel's yours isn't going to happen. But is there a message? Is there a message in your novel that you want readers to grasp?
That's a good question.
I would say with mine, I think the sort of the privilege of writing a series and knowing it was going to be a series ahead of time is that I could really look at it as kind of an overarching plot arc and character development for my character. So my main character's name is Lydia. And, you know, where she starts out the novel out, she's really naive. She's very sweet and like, you know, tenacious and smart and, you know, gung-ho, but maybe even a little bit too gung-ho. And by the end, she's just learned so much about who she is. So I don't know that I necessarily set out to come up with a message so much as I wanted to be able to really explore what would really happen to a teenage girl if she was thrust into this incredibly insane situation. And I think that's probably at the heart of most speculative writing which is what Asher and I do, it's horror, fantasy, sci-fi, is how can you take a character, stick them just in the most bananas situation you can come up with, and still have them respond as real people and you know, and make sure the emotions match that. So I would say that was mostly my goal.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, you know, you're describing a YA novel, but you could describe a horror novel the exact same way, just an ordinary person thrust into a, you know, not ordinary situation. But yeah, I don't know. I personally believe that horror novels just, you know, can be scary, and that's enough. Like I didn't write it down. You know, cannibalism is a metaphor for, you know, yeah, exactly, or something like that, which is okay if, you know, if that's, you know, a lot of good authors do that. But no, I was just sitting down, like I wanted to give somebody a fun, entertaining read and keep them at the edge of their seats and give them nightmares. And it is interesting though, when everything was said and done, I had a reviewer mention that what they took from my book was that they felt it was about guilt. And I think they were actually really spot on, because I thought about the cast of characters I had, and it seems like everybody in my story has a secret, like a really dirty secret they're trying to keep from people, and they feel horrible about it. And you know, cannibalism really being one of the least of them. So yeah, I'd say, I guess, underneath all the fun blood and gore and everything, there might be that. So
I think too, Asher and I, we both love to read genre.
mm-hmm.
You know, we read what we write. So I've always loved to read YA. I've always loved to read romance. And you know, you've always loved being a horror lover your whole life. So I think for us, it's, you know, reading has always been about entertainment
mm-hmm.
on a level, and writing too for me is a little bit about entertainment and entertaining people.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I've had so many plane trips and so many bus rides and so many moments where, you know, just a book has saved me from boredom or sadness, and it wasn't because it was changing my life or, you know, giving me some secret that I didn't know. It was because it was taking me away and entertaining me. It was fun. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And I love it when I hear a reader like had that experience from something that I wrote. So, yeah.
So you made a really good point, Rachel, that you kind of write what you read. So what is the genre you want to write in next, and what is the genre you never want to write in?
Oh man, that's a great question. That I'd like to write in. You know, I love what I write. I don't know that I want to move that far away from speculative writing. Asher and I are actually working on a novel together. We're co-authoring a novel. It's tentatively called Refuge, and it's a post-apocalyptic story. We're both really fascinated by the apocalypse and the idea of living after something catastrophic. So that's been really exciting to get involved with. And I'm just about to finish up a fantasy book right now, the first in what I hope will be a series. So that was fun to play with too, because, you know, my series that's out so close to you it's all set. It's, you know, it can be kind of crazy and time travel and all that, but it's set in our world. It's pretty realistic at its core. And so it's been fun to write something that's all over the place. If I had to pick the thing that I would want to write the least,
oh, right?
It might be horror. It might be his stuff.
Right.
I don't like horror at all. Asher's been to some horror movies with me, and I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm terrified. So I don't know.
It's all right. I get it. I hate horror movies as well. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't watch them.
Too scary. So I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah.
Irony.
I don't know. There's some pretty horrific things happening though in the book we're writing right now.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like horror to me though. It feels like I'm writing. So we're writing this book, and we're each taking different characters, and we're really playing to our strengths. So my character is this young girl who's like falling in love and flirting herself, and Asher's is this like homicidal maniac
who's hunting her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And hopefully it's blending.
Yeah.
A little too early to tell so far, but.
But what do you think? Like, what was your?
I don't know. Like I've dabbled. I've tried out quite a few genres. I mean, I'm drawn to horror, usually, or thriller, which there's this much difference sometimes between the two, but there is a difference. I've tried writing Western short stories. I've actually, I started writing. I started exploring YA, and I actually have been enjoying it quite a bit. So yeah, what would I not write? I guess what I would feel less capable of writing is maybe a romance novel, like a traditional, conventional romance novel. Not writing romance per se. Like I would want to write about two people I hope falling in love. Like that's not something I'd be like, no, never. But
you don't want to do a bodice for her.
Yeah, exactly. Like since I don't read the genre enough, like I wouldn't want to just sit down and be like, I know what I'm doing. Like I'd want to do the research first, which I think is just good advice for any genre you're attempting to write. So anyway, yeah.
So you guys keep talking about this book that you're writing. Can you give us a synopsis?
It's yeah, we're just laughing because we're very, very, very early in the stages here. I mean, we are a third of the way through a first draft, maybe, but we've been having a lot of fun writing together. I think it's surprised both of us how much fun it's been. But okay, a synopsis.
Here you go for it.
So when we first started this project, it was really just as a fun experiment for us. So we were just being thrown around all these ideas, and finally we were like, let's just start something. You just write a chapter. It can be anything in the world, just total freedom, and just hand it to me. So that's what I did. I just wrote this chapter, and somehow this thing came out of me about this girl who lives in this totally isolated community, and all outside her community has been this agricultural apocalypse where the whole world's just gone. And she's just grown up very isolated, very naive. And she finds this boy in her barn, and she starts nursing him back to health. So this is the chapter that then I hand to Asher, and then he took it from there and then handed it back. So we've been going back and forth. But at this point, it's become, what would you say?
I don't know. It's becoming more of a solid story.
Yeah.
I think. But that was, we intentionally, like Rachel was saying, we kept it totally open. Like, which was a lot of fun at first.
It was.
I was describing it as reading a book at the same time you're writing it. Because I'd never know what Rachel's going to come back with me, and she never knew what I was going to send her. But after a while, I don't know, 50 pages in, eventually we kind of came to our senses. We're like, yeah, it's probably, if we want to actually make this a story somebody can follow, we should have a discussion and talk about what it's going to be about. But
plus, I killed one of the main characters, and Asher got super pissed.
Which I don't mind killing characters. I do it all the time, but usually not in chapter 2.
Yeah, he gets so mad until he brought him back with this slug that grants you immortality. This book gets
yeah.
So we're still figuring it out, but we're having fun.
Yeah. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's come together.
Great.
Totally.
Turn to a game. So I see that there's some viewers. So do not be shy, viewers, and ask a question. The sidebar is right there, and I will ask Asher and Rachel those questions. So, but first, before I ask them any fan questions, I'm going to play a game called Would You Rather. And for those of you who don't know this game, I would ask Asher or Rachel, would you rather eat apples or oranges for the rest of your life? And they'll have to say either apples or oranges, except this is book related. So the first one is, would you rather read only trilogies or standalones?
Ooh. Wow.
Trilogies.
Standalones.
I like a story that continues, and that you get more. I love books, and when I fall into them, I just want more and more and more of the characters and the place. So I just want them to keep going.
And the thing, I mean, I of course love the horror genre. One of the best things about it is, like, unlike any other genres, you don't even know if the main character is going to live till the end of the book. With the trilogy, it's pretty much, you know, guaranteed.
Point,
yeah, but you know, the suspense for me would be gone. And not to mention, I think we actually might have just been talking about this the other day. As a writer, I fall into this thing. I don't even mean to, but if I'm reading the same author consistently, like book after book, I'll just subconsciously start writing like him or her,
right.
and I'll kind of lose my voice. So I try to read a different author, you know, every time. I mean, I come back to authors, obviously, but like, yeah, I try to break it up just so I don't, like, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm Stephen King, you know, or, and yeah, try to mix it up.
Yeah.
The second one is, would you rather read only female or male authors?
Oh, that's a dangerous question.
I don't know that I care.
Yeah, right?
Like,
yeah.
Does that make sense? I would say probably my favorite books have been written by women. So I guess women, but I hate to say I don't see gender when I read.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't think about it.
Yeah, I know. I've got both lining my bookshelf. So
yeah.
I mean, the one thing is that if I'd have no problem really giving up male writers, but then I'd never be able to read Stephen King again, and that makes me sad. So
I think what's interesting is traditionally in our genres, there's more women authors in YA, and there's more male authors in horror.
Right. I think that's fair. I mean, there's certainly like really important female writers in horror.
Right.
I mean, Shirley Jackson and
Nancy
Holder is one of my mentors. I mean, and she writes both though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. But yeah, yeah, it's an interesting question.
I don't want to give up John Green, like.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like, man, thank goodness you don't have to make that choice.
I know. I feel like we can.
Yes, this is all fictional. You don't actually have to do this, so don't worry.
Take your books right now.
I know. I feel like we're very affected by that.
Yeah. Right.
I apologize for bringing such madness to you.
I need them.
We know.
All right, the next one is, would you rather shop at Barnes & Noble or Amazon?
I've got mine.
Neither?
Yeah.
I think Amazon, if I had to choose one, because I think what they're doing with self-publishing is really cool and interesting, and I read a lot of self-published writing.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's available on both, but Amazon's the one publishing it, so I guess I'd pick Amazon.
I mean, I want to see Barnes & Noble because they're one of the last actual stores you can go to,
right.
And that kind of bums me out, knowing that they're probably, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they went the way of Borders.
Right.
But Barnes & Noble's has always kind of ticked me off because unlike Borders, they don't have a horror section.
Really?
Yeah, they have sci-fi, fantasy. No, they do not. So if you want to find, you know, Stephen King, he's in general fiction, and which is funny because I actually once, I think either Facebook or tweeted about this. I was in one of their stores, and in the same section is Max Brooks's, you know, zombie survival guide next to, like, you know, in the same section as like Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Sections don't make a lot of. I can never find my book in Barnes & Noble.
Really?
Yeah, because now we have these strange YA sections where it's like YA.
So there's no horror section, but there's too many YA.
Well, there's like YA like sci-fi fantasy, but my books are there. And then there's like YA romance, and there's all these. I never know how it works anymore.
Yeah.
The next one is, would you rather all books become movies or TV shows?
TV show.
So it's either all one or the other.
No, I would definitely go with movies. I'm way more of a film buff than I am television shows.
I like TV better.
I don't know. I think they, you know, there's more money that's put into movies generally, at least Hollywood movies. Mm-hmm. And although there's some great TV shows out there, even my favorite ones, I will totally admit, get a little melodramatic once in a while. And I feel like you don't get that on the bigger screen, that is movies. So I don't know.
I would want though like more. Like I said before, I want more and more story, and TV shows give you the capacity for more and more stories. And I think they take places. They end up taking the book places that the book doesn't go. And films, I think, can be more. It's easier to watch a film of your favorite movie and be like, they screwed that up, than it is a TV show, I think.
So what do you mean? Like you watch the TV show and if they screw it up, it doesn't?
No, because I think that they have to take so much like artistic liberty and narrative liberty.
Oh, to keep it going, you mean, into a series?
Like maybe 3 books and they're trying to turn it into like 5 seasons. So they end up adding things and taking things away and adding characters. And to me, it's more interesting because it's just a news story.
Yeah, but I just feel like they get that wrong most of the time, though. Like, I don't know. I watch, Under the Dome. It's on CBS right now. That's one Stephen King book.
Yeah,
and it's getting.
But like The 100, nailed it.
Well, how about like The Walking Dead though?
Also nailed it.
Oh, all right. Well, there are many.
Now we're gonna start fighting. We gotta move on.
If we had more viewers, I'm sure there'd be a lot of they're going. But,
all right. So the next one is: would you rather read 5 books per week or 5 books per month?
I think I could read 5 books per week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd have that.
Yeah.
I guess I'd go with month. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could probably read 5 books per month right now.
Yeah,
that's probably what I'm at.
Right.
What do you think? Yeah, 5 per month.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather only read your top 20 favorite books over and over, or always read new ones that you haven't read before?
New ones for me. In fact, I very rarely even read my favorite books again.
Top 20 over and over. Yeah.
So you want your TV shows to keep going forever, but you'll.
Well, I love some, like, I tend to reread the same, like, 5 books every year. And I read more things too, but there's certain books I come back to over and over and over.
Yeah, to me, there's just too many books for me to get through. I have to keep reading new ones because my stack is always, I never get it down.
Yeah.
Would you rather be a librarian or a bookseller?
Librarian.
Yeah, more job security probably.
That's true.
If I could go back and do all my education over again, I think I would have done library studies.
Library science?
Yeah, library science, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have explored it too.
Yeah.
Especially too when you look at like, I look at it seems to always be in demand too.
Yeah.
Like, I always wish I had that degree under my belt because I think it'd be a really fun job. But
libraries are my favorite places.
Yeah, right.
In the whole world.
Yeah, you get to hang out in one all day. It'd be awesome.
All librarians are like, you have no idea how hard it is.
Yeah.
It's like, it's good.
All right. The next one is: would you rather only read your favorite genre or every genre except your favorite?
Only my favorite.
Yeah, we agree on this one. Only my favorite.
Yeah.
The last one is: would you rather only read physical books or ebooks?
I guess I'm still kind of old school. I think I'd go with physical. I have nothing against ebooks. My book, actually, The Remedy, is only available as an ebook.
Yeah.
So, but as a reader and not a writer, I am very much in love with holding a book. Still, that's the thing.
I think I pick ebooks.
Really?
I was really excited when ebooks became. I like a physical book, but I have so many. I think when you really are like a lover of romance novels, you just amass these mass market paperbacks. I had just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, stacks of them that I've like gotten rid of, and my life is now on an ebook.
Well, you're only reading 20 of them, so.
Yeah, that's right.
And only female authors.
All right.
All right. So that concludes our Would You Rather game. Thank you so much for playing. You both get gold stars. So
Yay.
Now there is a question from Book Lovers for Life, and this person asks, is the book you're working on together planning to be published?
Right now, we're trying to write it.
Yeah.
I think. We hope to keep public. We hope it will be published. That's our goal. Our individual projects that we're working on, we 100% want them to be published. The problem with Refuge is that the way at least traditional publishing works right now, I think it would be a very difficult sell. My character is a teenager and his is an adult, and we have dual perspectives, which would make it a very difficult YA sell. This is kind of more nitty-gritty in the publishing world. But I know that if we can't sell it, we would put it out as an ebook.
Yeah. But yeah, we're both writing it with full intention of doing something with it.
Yes,
right?
It will at one point be available. You can read all about the parasitic slugs.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
In one way or another, they'll get you.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for that question, Book Lovers for Life. So my next question is going to be about your books again. Which actor or actress would you like to see playing the lead character from your most recent book?
This is funny. I get this question all the time as a YA author. I feel like you haven't gotten it.
No, I know. I'm like trying to think of somebody right now.
Yeah, I've had to answer it maybe 150 times. But the problem is that these actors keep getting older.
Yeah, right.
So they're getting aged out of my book. My original answer was I could see Emma Stone.
Oh yeah, but no longer, right?
She's too old now.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be
I have a blog post all about this on my website, rachel-carter.com. You can find it and see all my choices.
You know, actually, I should just steal that one.
Yeah. Emma Stone.
Yeah, now she's old enough for my book. Yeah. But yeah.
So
I did Douglas Bluth for my main guy because of the jawline. Chisel.
But it's like I'm not gonna like. I don't think I'll be able to come up with one right now. But it's
you really think Emma Stone is a good one?
No.
Are you just thinking about it?
Yeah. I don't know. But I have the same problem. Like all the actors I think of like in my favorite like horror movies, I think would be good for it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they would be in the ballpark anymore. Like the.
I think this is a really hard question, at least for me, because when I was writing it, I had this person becomes like a person inside of you that exists in you. It's very difficult for me to put that personality onto anyone else. Does that make sense?
I do have a part in my book where I describe a character as looking like Hemsworth there.
Liam, no?
No. Well, actually,
Chris.
Liam might be better actually for the age because he's a little younger. But yeah, I think it's Chris in the.
Thor, you're going with Thor?
Yeah. You know, he draws an audience, so.
Yeah.
But that's
he does. So I know that these, again, they're fictional, but how much did you do any research for your books?
I did a ton of loads and loads of research. Mine are fictional, but they are also sort of historical novels. So the first book takes place almost exclusively in the 1940s. The second book is the 1980s in New York City. The third book is the future. So my background is actually in nonfiction writing, so I have been doing a lot of memoir writing. So for me, I wanted everything as accurate as I could possibly make it, even though it was fiction. So I researched so much about these time periods. I talked to people. I read fictional books about them. I read nonfiction books about them. I went to Montauk and explored the whole town, so I knew the layout of the town. I explored the army base where the book mostly takes place. I called the library. I did a lot.
I didn't do that much while I was writing it. But again, I was doing it in my MFA program. That was kind of like the whole thing was like, no procrastinating, just writing, get fingers moving on the keyboard. And if it comes out horrible, at least you wrote a horrible book, but it's still a book, But one of the characters in my book is a forest ranger. And that's actually like a big important part of the story. And it was first edited by my older brother, who's an editor by profession. But at one point in his life, he worked for a national park. And so he went through and did not hesitate to tell me how much I had screwed up so many of the details of that profession, which was great because on my second, pass, I fixed them all and hopefully, and made it way more realistic and addressed all those things that I hope to do a better job of when I begin writing, so I don't have so much work to do later on. But yeah, I still, a lot of real life, information and research did apply to my story, just not at the same time as when you were writing yours.
Also, Asher's book takes place in the woods of Vermont.
So yeah,
and that's where we grew up.
Right. So I guess I've been researching that my whole life.
Yeah.
But,
so
yeah, less killer fungus and cannibals, but but yeah.
So we have a question, and this is by Jay. And Jay asks, is that a Donkey Kong backdrop?
Yes, it is. That is correct.
Yeah, we're in Asher's basement right now, and
yeah, that's just this is where I work.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff.
It's really cool. I really like it. So.
Oh, give me the
great.
Oh yeah.
Asher's office is filled with lots of weird, creepy things that we've been trying to move out of the way.
Clear skull
like
and
skulls and creepy pictures.
There's another one.
Yeah, there's more skulls. So yeah.
Wow.
It's a good office for a horror writer.
Yeah. I don't know where Donkey Kong fits into that. I just like Donkey Kong.
So, if you had to choose, which writer would you consider a mentor?
Oh. Well.
Like an actual mentor?
Yeah, do you mean literally or?
Like somebody we wish was our mentor or who was
No, just someone, someone just who you read and you're like, I want to be like this person or anything.
Ooh.
Who you consider personally as a mentor.
I know yours is easy, Stephen King.
Yeah, I said every horror writer ever. But yeah, it's true.
I know I might say John Green just because I like the way that he has been able to. First of all, I love his writing. I think he's an amazing writer. I think he's somebody who completely 100% deserves all the fame that he's getting and accolades. But I also like the way that he, like how he markets himself and how he does social media and ties that into his writing. That's something I don't think I like that I would say.
I mean, I love his YouTube.
Yeah,
videos,
he does YouTube videos and all that stuff, and I think he's really great at that.
Yeah.
And I wish that was something I was a little maybe better at.
Have you been compared to in either professional reviews or just people writing about your book on blogs to an author? Then you were like, that excited you?
Oh, I don't know if I have.
Because a few have actually said like, this reminds me of early Stephen King, and that just makes me go, oh,
yeah, you're so excited,
right? But
well, congratulations that you saw that. I mean, wow.
But yeah, but
no, I don't think I have actually. Maybe I have to go back and look.
Because John Green, I mean, he writes such different YA than you write. I mean, thematically or just content wise.
My marketing tagline was Back to the Future meets the X-Files. So I'm an author though. Yeah, right.
It's not even like any YA in there at all. I mean, both those things are awesome.
Yeah. That's all I'm good.
Yeah. With teens.
All right. So my last question before we go is, can you give the audience there's a lot of, this actually is asked all the time. Can you give them some tips if they are an aspiring writer?
Oh, man. Huh. yeah, go for it. You got something.
My first tip is always to keep writing. I think that sometimes, at least for me, probably the hardest thing is the actual writing, is the sitting down, doing it, working it into your schedule, making a priority. I think it's so easy to say, I want to write a book. Even now, it's easy for us to say, I want to write a book. And the actual act of writing is a really difficult discipline to learn that I've had to learn over the past few years, and I'm still learning. I'm always learning. So I think that just the beginning is just write and also get readers who you trust. And that means do not let your friends, your best friends read it. Do not let your mom or grandma read it. Don't let anybody read it who's going to be nice to you. And it's hard, but the most honest person you can give it to is the best reader you could possibly have. So I always say start there. Then there are so many, you know, there are definitely ways to get published and to find an agent, and there's so much information out there online and so many amazing blogs to check out. But to me, that's always like out there, sort of. That's like the last step. Like the first step is really just like working and writing and getting your stuff as good as you think you can get it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You don't want to be one of those people that just talks about being a writer. Like you just write anything, you know, just keep writing. And equally important, the second thing you said, you have people read it. I teach a few classes at Colby Sawyer College, creative writing classes, and like one of the first things we discuss is that we're not writing in our little private journals here, you know, and we aren't writing just for ourselves. Like if you're gonna write, you're gonna write for people. So get used to people not only reading your stuff but criticizing it.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle that, then you know, maybe not for you, but if you can, awesome. And yeah, of course, like you said, there's so much stuff out there about networking and all that stuff. But
also, we're in this weird world in publishing right now where there are so many options.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many more than when you were growing up, or even maybe 5 to 10 years ago. You know, if you don't get an agent or you can't get a publisher, there's self-publishing, and people do amazingly well with that. There's smaller e-presses. There's so many choices that really didn't exist even 5 to 10 years ago. So the marketing and all that stuff can come. It can happen, but I always say start at the beginning.
In the beginning, maybe not. Isn't even writing. I mean, might be Captain Obvious here, but reading.
Yeah, that's true.
It is pretty. It always blows my mind when I meet somebody who they want to write a certain genre and they haven't read anybody.
You can't write what you don't read.
And it's like, what are you working on? Oh, I'm writing a zombie novel. And I'm like, that's it? You know, like there's about, I don't know, 9 billion of those books out right now. So if you don't know what's already been covered and who came before you, nobody's gonna be interested in your same story again. So yeah, you want to be well knowledge. You want to read.
Yeah.
Very true. So now we have 2 questions from people. So I guess that wasn't the last question. If you guys are ready to take some more. This one is from Jay, and Jay asks, when writing, there are moments of inspiration. How do those random moments work with 2 authors, both individually or collectively?
Oh, like when we're writing together?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh.
Well, okay, so what's been great about our collaboration is that they work pretty seamless. That's the idea, is that we get these crazy inspirations and we go with it. That was certainly the idea in the beginning, was we were just trying to have fun, which is why I killed somebody.
Yeah.
We just wanted to have a good time, and so those moments of inspiration were really just exciting, and they were exciting to read because I didn't know what Asher was going to write at all, and reading his stuff inspired me. In the beginning, we also had a rule that we weren't allowed to talk to each other about any future plans we had.
Yeah, any ideas or anything.
Yeah, so we both had these ideas of, or this trajectory of how we saw our characters or our plots working. But then in the next chapter, one of us would do something that would just derail everything. It's a very exciting way to write. I don't know if it's a smart way to write.
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
But it's very exciting.
Yeah.
As an individual writer, I would say that I used to hate it when I was younger and a huge reader and an aspiring writer, and I would read interviews with authors where they would say like, oh, the character just took me here, or oh, the character just wanted to write that. And I was always like, that's so stupid. Like, you're writing it, it's in your head, you know that it's happening. But since I've become more of like a prolific writer and I write more fiction, it's totally true. And I feel like such a jerk about it. But it is like, I'll start writing, I will, so I'm a huge, Asher and I talk about this, I'm a huge plotter and he is too. We are not pantsers, which is why our collab has been such an interesting experience. But I'm a huge plotter. So I will have a book plotted out chapter by chapter. I know exactly what's happening through the whole story. But when I start writing those individual chapters, sometimes the scene will go in this direction that I didn't expect. Or sometimes a character will say something that I really didn't know when I started that's what they were going to say. And I know it's coming from me, but it does feel sort of like it's happening organically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I think so anyway. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I've felt it too. I originally wrote The Remedy as a screenplay, as a movie. And although
Wow.
well, which I mean, it helped because, as Rachel said, I mean, we both are very into plot. We both outline quite a bit. And I had more than an outline. I had a whole story in a different format all ready to go. But the screenplay focused on only my main character and maybe one other character, a side character. But the rest were there, and I'll totally admit this now, they were there to die. You know, they were there to get killed in entertaining ways. But as I started writing, you know, an 80,000 word novel and started exploring these characters, all of a sudden these people I hadn't paid any attention to until now, except and how I was going to kill them, just started surprising me as I was writing. And no outlining for them, just totally spur of the moment. I was like, oh my God, they're doing this, or this happened to them, you know, and it was really cool. That never happened to me writing before, like this idea that characters would come to life as you're writing them. I was with you. I was with Rachel. I thought that was just ridiculous when I hear a writer. So I thought it was the most pretentious thing ever.
Right? Yeah, but no, we're the pretentious ones.
Yep. That's great.
Great.
All right. The next question is from Book Lovers for Life again. And the question is, did either of you base your characters on someone you know or yourself?
Well, you did. Right?
I did, yeah. I get this a lot. I think that there are elements of my main character, Lydia, in me. I see elements of us. I think that she's similar to me in certain ways. I think she's probably braver than I am. But there are certain things. Because I was inside her head, I wrote from the first person, so the whole book was written in, with I. And so there were definitely times where I could feel us sort of merging, but she's not based on me. The character of Mary, I have two younger sisters, Mary and Emma. So the character of Mary was named after one of my younger sisters, but was based on my other sister. So anybody who's read So Close to You knows that Mary is very fun and bright and funny and outgoing and fun-loving, and that's my sister Emma to a T, even down to the slang. I mean, Mary is from the 1940s, so she uses lots of 1940s slang, but Emma is like she's like teenage girl speak. It's all like, yeah, on that. And then there's another character too, Grant. He's not huge in the books, but he's a semi-love interest for Lydia. He was based on someone we went to high school with, Neil Coons. It was one of our friends in high school. So that was it. Yeah. Otherwise, though, they're pretty original. Like, I think it's very hard to base certain characters on people.
Yeah, I got that question once in an interview, and my response was no, and that's good for people that I know, because it would be insulting if any of my characters were based on anyone I know, because they're not very good people. They're all pretty here, and no, not my friends. The characters in my book. Let's be clear here. The characters in my book aren't. Yeah. No, they're they all have secrets from each other. Like I was saying before, they're very insecure. In fact, my main character, when I submitted it to Full Fathom 5, they obviously loved the book and they published it. But one of the things they found interesting was that they liked the book, but they thought the main character, Lee, was kind of unlikable, and but not in a you need to change her and make her likable. But it was just she has a lot of not likable qualities, and I think actually one of the cool things that horror explores is you always have a monster, you always have a thing that's gonna kill people, but sometimes it's interesting to compare a monster to people who might actually be worse, and Lee does find herself having to face both of those things. So but like you were taking language of your little sister and things like that. A lot of things do leak through here and there that you add to characters just to make them more realistic, and you really have to know these people in real life to pick it up. But
well, fun fact though, Asher has a character named after my dad.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
So our dads are very good friends. And that's how we've known each other for so long. But he has a character named Phil Carson, right?
Yep.
who's like the name is based on, and like his interests maybe are based on my dad, Phil Carter.
Yeah, well, Phil Carter. Again, it would be insulting to your dad, especially considering the character arc of that certain character. But
yeah, my dad read it and he was like, I was like, oh, did you see the character based on you? And he was like, I hope it wasn't based on me. The guy's like giant and bald.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's fun to once in a while take, borrow things. But yeah, then again though, like, yeah, I think it's more fun for me to try to create original characters.
I think it'd be really hard to try to write somebody to who they really are anyway.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you want it to fit the story.
Right.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to be talking about, again, Rachel and Asher are going to give away their novels. Rachel's going to give away the whole series, 3 books, which is So Close to You. That's the series. And then Asher is going to give away his book, The Remedy. And in order to win this giveaway, this box that you see me in is going to become a YouTube video. And when it becomes a YouTube video, I would like you to comment on that video with a way to contact you. It can be email, it can be Twitter, want, but if you win, I want to know how to tell you that you've won. And that's it. The giveaway ends next Monday. I'll pick a winner. And that's it. Thank you. Oh, I think this is US. Ooh, we didn't talk about this. Is this USA only? Canada? International? I forgot to ask.
Mine is USA only.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. USA only. And that's it. So thank you so much, Rachel and Asher. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you.
for having us, guys. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.